everyone, my name is Dennis with DonkSec or Donk Security, whatever your heart desires, and in today's video we'll be going over the SOC metrics and objectives lab. So the subtitle of this lab is Explore key metrics driving SOC effectiveness and discover ways to improve them. So let's hit join room right here, and then task 1 with introduction. As with any other department, the efficiency of the SOC team can be measured using different indicators and metrics. This room explores the most common evaluation approaches like MTTD. What is MTTD? Mean time to detect, average time to take for an organization to identify a security threat, incident, or technical problem, and MTTR, mean time to respond is the average time between the initial alert and the response to it. Malware removal, password reset, or system restore, which describes both methods to improve the metrics and potential consequences of ignoring them. So here are the learning objectives here, right? Obviously, we'll talk about not only these two, but MTTR, SLA, importance of false positive rate, improve metrics on an L1 analyst, practice with managing SOC team performance metrics, and we have our prerequisites right here, and let's begin. So here are the core metrics right here. To begin with, let's recall the main goal of a SOC to prevent the CIA, which is called the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the organization's digital assets. The SOC team performs its purpose by developing, receiving, and triaging alerts. The L1 analyst's role in this process is to reliably report true positives to the higher level, to the L2. This leads us to our first 4 metrics. Alright, metric 1 right here, we have our alert count here. The formula, which is AC, equals total count of alerts received, and the measures overall load of SOC analyst. And then our second metric right here, our false positive rate, which is false positive slash total alerts, which is dividing by that, measures the level of noise in the alerts. Alert escalation rate, escalate alerts divided by total alerts, experience of L1 analysts. And then our last but not least metric, threat detection rate, which is detected threats slash total threats, and that measures the reliability of the SOC team. So alerts count, imagine starting your shift and seeing 80 unresolved alerts in the queue. That's definitely overwhelming and prone to missing real threats, hiding behind the noise spam. On the other hand, considering a whole week without any alerts sounds better at first glance, but also concerning since too low count of alerts might indicate an issue with the SIEM or lack of visibility leading to undetected breaches. The ideal metric value depends on company size, but in general, 5 to 30 alerts per day as a L1 analyst is a good metric. False positive rate. If 75 out of 80 alerts, which is 94%, were confirmed to be false positive, like system noise or typical IT activity, that's a bad signal for your team. With more noise, analysts tend to become more vigilant and more likely to miss the threat and treat all alerts just like yet another spam. A false positive rate of 0% is an unachievable ideal, but 80% or higher is a serious problem, usually fixed by a tool and detection rules tuning, often called false positive remediation. Alert escalation rate. Alright, L2 analysts rely on L1 to filter out the noise and escalate only the actionable threatening alerts. At the same time as L1, you don't want to be overconfident and triage alerts you do not fully understand without a senior support. The alert escalation rate comes in handy to evaluate how experienced and independent the L1 analysts are and how often they decide to escalate the alert. Usually aim to be below 50% or even better below 20%. Threat detection rate. Imagine that out of 6 attacks for 2025, your SOC team detected and prevented 4 attacks, missed the 5th because of the broken detection rule, and the 6th because one of the L1 analysts misclassified the breach as a false positive. The resulting metric is this, 4 divided by 6, 67%. This is a very bad result. The threat detection rate should always be at 100%, since every misthreat can have devastating consequences such as ransomware infection and data exfiltration. Is 0 alerts for 1 month a good sign for your SOC team? No, because that could lead to misconfiguration of the SIEM, and if it is a misconfiguration of the SIEM, then that could lead to a lack of visibility. What is the false positive rate if only 10 out of 50 alerts appear to be real threats? 10 divided by 50, so it's 20%, 10 divided by 50, but talking about the false positive rate and which of those alerts appear to be real threats. So the answer should be 80%. 80%, yeah. Triage metrics next. Remember that an alert by itself will not stop the breach. It is important to timely receive the alert, triage it, and respond to the attack before attackers achieve their goals. So now we're going to be talking about our triage metrics right here, right? The requirements to ensure a quick detection and remediation of a threat, commonly grouped into SLA, which is service level agreement, the document signed between the internal SOC team and its company management, or by the managed SOC provider MSSP and its customers. The agreement usually requires quick threat detection, which is the MTTD, timely alert acknowledged by L1 analyst, MTTA, and finally prompt response to the threat, like isolating the device or securing the breached account, MTTR, which is time to resolve. So here's an example right here. Malicious event occurs, MTTD, time to detect, and a malicious event occurs. The SIEM or EDR alert detects it in 5 minutes, and then an L1 analyst takes 5 minutes to acknowledge the alert. Then the escalation other workflows, a SOC fully migrates the breach, and that's the MTTR, and I guess internal processes as well, but mainly just the MTTR because that's the time to resolute or have a fully resolution of the alert. So basically what we just talked about right here, reference table of this. No worries though, we can answer the questions now. Imagine a scenario where the SOC team receives a critical alert on a Saturday. If your team works 8 to 5, on which day in the week will they acknowledge the alert? Monday. I mean, unless there's like a person on call and they are tasked with doing all alerts on a weekend, then that person would do the alert Saturday, or if not Sunday. But I assume, the team works 8 to 5, which is Monday through Friday, so Monday they will have to acknowledge the alert. Imagine a scenario where an employee was alerted to running data stealer malware, received C2 alert after 12 minutes. One of the alerts moved on to and progressed 10 minutes later. 6 minutes, the alert was escalated to L2, spent 35 minutes cleaning the malware. Provide the MTTD, MTTA, and via comma. Okay. Meantime to detect. You got it correct here. So meantime to detect, 12 minutes. Meantime to acknowledge, right? Alert. A L1 analyst acknowledged the alert. So 10 minutes. Then meantime to resolute or provide the alert as a resolution. So we just did some math here. So basically the MTTR is plusing everything right here. So 35 plus 10, 45 plus 6, 51, right? Meantime to resolute, which is basically like the workflow of these two just combining, or it's 3 actually, because, move alert to progress 10 minutes later, then 6 minutes alert was escalated, and then 35 minutes clean up the malware. So yeah, definitely some math involved there. Improving metrics. So now that you know a lot about different metrics, why would it matter to you as an L1 analyst? First, you should understand that metrics are built to make the SOC team more efficient and therefore to make the attacks far less successful. Second, the metrics are often used to evaluate your performance, and good results lead to career growth and a raise to more senior positions like L2 analyst. So how can you improve the metrics? Right, we have our reference table here. All right, false positive rate over 80. Team receives too much noise and alerts. Try to exclude trusted activities like system updates from your EDR. Seem the extra rules consider automating alert triage for most common alerts using SOAR, security orchestration automation response. Basically a solution to help streamline and automate their security operations, right? EDR, endpoint detection response, tools that monitor devices for activity and can provide a response. SIEM basically correlates all log sources such as the firewall, Windows event logs into one platform, centralized platform. So yeah, meantime to detect over 30 minutes. Team detects a threat with high delay. Try to contact SOC engineers to make detection rules run faster or with a higher rate. Check if SIEM logs are collected in real time without a 10-minute delay. Issue right here, meantime to acknowledge over 30 minutes. L1 analysts start alert triage with high delay. Try to ensure that analysts are notified in real time when a new alert appears. Try to evenly distribute alerts in the queue because the analysts on shift, not because between the analysts on shifts. Meantime to respond over 4 hours, so the SOC team can stop their breach in time. Try to, as L1, make sure everything is possible. Quickly isolate the threats to L2. Ensure your team has documented what to do during different attack scenarios. What is the highest acceptable false rate for SOC teams? Highest acceptable false positive rate for SOC teams is 80%. Okay, interesting for sure. Should all SOC roles work together to keep metrics moving? Of course, yeah. Just in case there's alert fatigue, there's a lot of alerts in the queue. So while metrics tracking is usually the SOC manager's job, technical person is always required to propose improvements or highlight the issues. As an L1 analyst, you're first to notice excessive alerts or a high false positive rate, so make sure you know how to communicate and what to do to fix it. For this lab, imagine yourself as a SOC manager receiving different complaints related to the SOC team. Open the attached site by clicking the view site button and try to improve SOC metrics across 3 scenarios by correctly assigning improvement tasks from the list. Once completed, claim the flags and answer the task question. Alright, so we got our flags right here. Let's go open up this view site. So, dear SOC manager, unhappy customer. No. How we handle breaches. Okay, breach. Almost 6 hours to kick out the attacker from the mailbox. Enough time to dump all the emails, leak them in darknet. Look in the report. Looks like I would spend 5 hours trying to probably set the MFA. How can it happen? What can be your actions? Okay, so looking at this, time to respond is too high. Obviously a problematic metric because what it took them 6 hours to respond. Improvement tasks here: create a workbook, displaying credential rotation stats present to the team because it shouldn't have taken 5 hours to reset the victim's Entra ID password and MFA. Send the test to send the research and workbook creation task to L2 that handled the incident. Yeah, we got our first flag right here. Hey, thanks for the site demo for top management. Love your ransomware simulation. We're shocked how your team managed to stop the attack in 40 minutes. However, for the first 20 minutes, everyone was looking at the screen waiting for some alerts to appear. It would be nice to somehow reduce this huge delay. What do you think? So definitely assign the detection rule schedule review to the dedicated SOC engineer because it took 20 minutes waiting for some alerts to appear. And then definitely improvement tasks, tune the seam detection rules to run more often every 5 minutes, especially when, like I just said before, 20 minutes to look at the screen waiting for some alerts to appear. And then time of detect led to alerts not showing up, so time to detect needs to be better. And the lesson right here: dear SOC manager, on behalf of all MLNs, I want to raise an issue that may require your help. On average, during 8-hour shift, our one MLNs closed 760 alerts, 90 which of the system noise from our IT or automation scripts. Possible to perform a vigilant triage with such a big load, and analysts are starting to get exhaustive. Moreover, as company growth grows, we receive more and more alerts. Can you help with us, please? Definitely a problematic basis is the false positive rate, core of the problem. And schedule a call with the team improvement to implement false positive remediation process. Then definitely send a task to the SOC engineers to exclude the system and return no scripts. And yeah, that should be it for our 3 flags, and this is our conclusion right here. We'll then complete in the room learning about SOC metrics. Throughout the task, we explored core internal metrics like false positive or threat detection rate, and key performance metrics such as MTTD, which is time to detect, MTTA, time to acknowledge, and MTTR, time to respond. Often shared with other parties, part of the SLA, service level agreement, which kind of is like agreement of a service level, service provider, customer defining uptime and quality requirements. Yep. And then also we explored ways to track and metric improvements, which you should definitely try on your SOC analyst job. Nice. Well and complete in the room. All right. Yeah, definitely a small room. Pretty easy for sure. And yeah, I mean, definitely, as the months go by, we'll definitely go for harder rooms, which could take longer lab hours. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video and you did learn something, leave a like down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you in my next video. Peace out.